Good evening, distributors. Welcome once again to our Thursday evening training. I hope this finds you very well and getting on with the business as we are in the last month of the year and steadily moving towards the holidays. So I hope that you are still well focused and that this evening's training is going to help in you reaching your goals for December. As you know, December is a very short month. So we have to really get cracking and get going so that by the time things close up, we shall be within reach of our goal. So well, maybe if you are new and joining us for the first few times, my name is Betty Olo, a long-time Neolife distributor, and always very pleased and privileged to be able to have this opportunity to speak with you about our products and discuss how to better position ourselves to help those who come to us. As you might have seen in your invite, and also I did mention it last week, today I was going to speak about nutrients. I think it's been a long time since we talked about it. And so this is a good line of products, excellent cosmetic products, which would make a good Christmas present for someone. So it's good for us to remind ourselves about how to use nutrients and how to use it to take care of our skins. So maybe some of the points there will help you in thinking of ways to move our nutrients range as people go about shopping for their Christmas special things. So without further ado, I'd like to start by introducing the skin. Often we don't think about the skin as an organ, but actually the skin is an organ and it's our largest and outermost organ. Its health and appearance are, of course, both important, and healthy skin looks very good, but it is linked to our overall health. The factors of good health, the ones we're always talking about, good nutrition, adequate movement and exercise, absence of disease are all also good for the health of our skin. So just to reiterate, when we think about the skin, of course, we think about the appearance of it because it's the outermost part of us and forms an important part of our first impression that we give. And as distributors, you know that we are often the first contact people have with our products and with our business. So our grooming is also of great importance for our business as well. Then a little bit about the skin. So the skin is made of three layers. One is called the epidermis, which is the outermost layer. Then in the middle, we have the one called the dermis, and the innermost one is called the hypodermis. And so the epidermis is the outermost one, and it's made of dead cells, which have a protective role to play, and also waterproofing. The epidermis is able to act as a waterproof because there's oil glands in the deeper parts of the skin which produce oil called sebum, and this sebum spreads over the skin and acts as a barrier for entry of moisture as well as loss of moisture. That is how come our skins don't shrivel as a result of daily dehydration. But of course, we'll speak a bit about what dryness does to our skin further down the line. So that is the epidermis, the outermost layer. It's made of dead cells, but it is protective. And one of the ways in which it protects us is through that waterproofing. Then the middle layer, called the dermis, is made of connective tissue. In fact, primarily collagen. I fairly frequently receive questions about collagen. And I think a lot of it is because people want to enhance the appearance of their skin. And of course, we know that collagen is an important connective tissue. The dermis also contains blood vessels, the hair follicles, those are the cells out of which our hair grow, and also the oil glands, which I mentioned, that produce oil that spreads over the skin to make it waterproof. Then the innermost layer of the skin is the hypodermis. It is made of fatty tissue as well as connective tissue, as we saw in the dermis. It acts as a shock absorber and an insulator. So the layer of fat that is found in the hypodermis also acts to keep us warm and to store fat. So let's look now at skincare. And I want to mention a few points about that. Most skincare products only act on the outermost layer of the skin. And that is correct because if the products go in the, let's say, up to the hypodermis, the innermost part of the skin, they could enter the blood circulation and that may not necessarily be a good thing. So most skin products will act on the outermost layers, keeping it plump and moisturized so as to enhance the appearance of the skin. But that is simply to enhance the appearance because also, sorry, just to repeat, we have cells in our skins that actually produce oil, and this oil is the natural emollient for our skin. However, as we grow older, the cells become less active and we tend to have drier skin. But also some people, just as a result of heredity, tend to have drier skin. And we'll mention that a little bit more further down the line. So then the next thing I want to mention is that of course, you have noticed that we have different types of skin on our bodies. So if you look at your hands and the soles of your feet, the skin is different from the skin on your neck, for example, and the skin on your eyelids is different from the skin on your back. So although the skin is one, it has different it's not the same everywhere, and that depends on the sensitivity required as well as the toughness of the work it does. So for example, the soles of our feet have to be quite tough because before shoes were being used or invented regularly, we used to walk barefoot and we needed to have a strong, thick skin on our feet to protect us from harm. Of course, these days we spend a lot of time in shoes, so we have much softer soles, but still you can see that our soles are, and hands are, the palms of our hands have a lot thicker and tougher skin as compared to the more delicate skin that is found on our face and our necks. So as today our interest is with the Neolife Nutriance range of products, I'd just like to say that this range of products are specifically formulated for caring for facial and neck skin. These are the most delicate skin on our body. And so they need a special range in which with which to take care of it. And this skin has got special needs for reasons that I'm going to mention. So before going to that, I just want to quickly point out that the reason we say organic, this term organic is being used a lot, but the actual definition of an organic product is that it's a natural product which has been grown or produced without the application of artificial chemicals. So the organic products in nutrients ensure that chemicals which may cause allergy or irritation or inflammation on our skins are excluded. Also, organically produced raw material tend to be more costly because they have got a very rigorous international standard which has to be fulfilled for a product to be certified organic. So Neolife has gone to the trouble to make sure that our nutrients range fulfills this rigorous standard to make sure that the range does not cause skin issues. And if probably you have been an adventurous person with grooming products, you know that certain products can be so harmful to our skin and can be so damaging that actually it takes a long time for us to recover, if at all. So that is a thing we can say about nutrients, and that is why I would say that for that special person, or you yourself as a special person, it's good to give yourself the luxurious good care that Nutrients Organic is going to provide for your skin. Then the nutrients range addresses 3 daily problems that affect this facial and neck skin. and that is dirt. The second one is dryness, and the third one is damage. So if I can start with dirt, the issue with dirt is that our face and often our neck is exposed all the time. And so as soon as we wake up, and even when we are in bed, most of us don't cover our faces when we are sleeping. I know that I cover mine because I like to cover my head when I'm sleeping. But many people sleep with their faces and necks exposed at night, and during the day, all of us spend our day with our face and neck exposed, as opposed to other parts of our bodies. Let's say if I'm wearing trousers, my legs are going to be covered. Most of my body will be covered by my clothes. This is not the case for our face and neck. And that means that any dirt in our environment, whether it is coming from smoke or it's coming from dust or other toxins, will land on our face. And that means that we need a product that is going to take care of that issue. Then the second issue of dryness is also because of that same exposure, because that skin is going to be exposed to whatever climatic conditions are in our environment. So it could be that there are drying winds. We live in an area like some of the cities in South Africa, like Port Elizabeth, are extremely windy, and those winds tend to be dry and harsh. Or it could be that you live in a hot place where you sweat a lot, and that the sweat is going to be drying to your skin because that is moisture coming out of your skin. And also it could be air conditioning. Often air conditioning, although it makes the air in the room cool, it usually is dry air. So just be aware that air conditioning can actually be very drying for the skin. Then the third issue is damage. And damage to the skin has different types of origins. So some can be rectified and others cannot be rectified. So for example, one of the things that will cause the damage to our skin is just the passage of time. If you look at the skin of a young person or even a little child, you find that their skins are in very good condition because they are younger. As time passes and the damage and the environmental factors accumulate, the effects accumulate, we'll find that there will be lines forming, permanent lines forming, maybe lines that used to appear and disappear when you laugh might become more and more permanent as we get older. And also because our faces and even our necks, all through during our waking hours, they are always moving. So for example, even as I'm speaking to you, you can see that my eyelids are continuously moving. My lips, my neck will be moving and so on. So all this movement also does affect the suppleness of the skin. So that is one factor we can do nothing about, because all of us hope to live a long life, but it means that time will pass and that time will have some damaging effect on our skin. Then we have harsh climate, depending on where we live, can also be damaging to the skin. Our nutrition can also be problematic for our skin. So certain things that we may eat can increase inflammation or allergic reactions and so on. And then the final point I want to make about that is heredity. From our heredity, we can have some sensitivities that other people don't have. For example, you may have allergies that make your eyes very itchy, so that you always feel like you want to rub your eyes because they are itching. Or you may have a sensitivity to certain food that if you are in contact with them, you can have reactions that make your skin swell up and so on. So we can't change our heredity, but what we can do is try to take care not to aggravate the things, the sensitivities that our skin may have. So now looking a bit closer to our nutrients range, the first step in using the nutrients range or recommending the nutrients range is to determine which of the two skin types the person who wants the product has. So we have, in our training, we simply divide the skin types into two. We have got combination and oily skin, that is one. And then the other is normal or dry skin. So combination on oily skin tends to be the oily skin is oily all over. So we are talking about facial skin and a little bit about the neck. So if you see someone whose the whole face becomes oily, then that would be a person with oily skin. Some people have oily skin on their forehead. So for example, like myself, if you look on the screen, you'll see my forehead, my nose, and my cheeks and my chin. So here, 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 and here are more oily, and that is because I have a combination skin. The other parts of my face tends to be dry. Then there are people who have got normal skin, which means that their skin is not particularly oily or not particularly dry. And then, of course, there are those with dry skin, which means their facial skin is always very dry. And each of these two groups require products that target their skin type. So that is why I say before you recommend or start using nutrients, the nutrients range, you need to determine the type of skin you have. This can be done by a beautician if you want to go that route. An easy way to do it is to take a serviette, a white serviette, and after washing your face and staying for maybe about an hour, you can place the serviette on your face and see where the oil patches will be. So the patches that show oil on the serviette will tell you whether everywhere is oily or nowhere is oily or certain parts are oily. But if you want a more accurate test, then it's better to see someone who deals in skin issue, like a dermatologist or a beautician and so on. So once we have determined our skin type, then we look at what the different products do. So remember, I mentioned that there are three problems with which our skincare needs to deal. And the first is to deal with dirt, and that will be the cleansers. So the cleansers deal with dirt. And remember, when we are speaking about that, we're also speaking about makeup, especially foundation, because I think many ladies now, not so much with the gents, but many ladies use makeup, especially foundation, which means that you're applying very fine dust on your face. Sometimes the dust is combined with oil for oil-based foundation and so on. So that would be under the group of dirt, because it is not supposed to stay on your skin for prolonged periods. You need to clean it off at the end of the day. So it's not a good practice to go to sleep with full makeup on your face. As before you retire for bed, it's important to clean, because as you sleep, your skin will also be rejuvenating itself. And it's good not to have all that stuff still on your face. So for the dirt and makeup and so on, the first product we would have there is gentle makeup remover to remove makeup and other particulate impurities that might have deposited on our facial skin. So this one will first be removed to remove the particulate dirt that is on our skin, whether it is from makeup or it is from dust or whatever we have been exposed to. Then after removing that particulate dirt, then we go to the next step. If a person has got oily skin, that is a combination on oily skin, then they will use the cleansing gel to deep clean their skin. If on the other hand, you have got normal to dry skin, then you'll use the cleansing milk to gently and properly clean the dry skin, because the gel is very light, and this is suitable for oily skin because the oily skin needs a more vigorous cleaning to break up the excess oil. The cleansing milk is gentler because the normal to dry skin tends to be on the drier side. So then you would want to use something that does not completely strip the little oil that is in the normal to dry skin type. Then after the cleanser step, then we have got the balancing toner. So the balancing toner is for both. So the makeup remover and the balancing toner are for both skin types. So the toner has got simply the job of restoring the pH of the skin after the cleansing step. So once you have done the cleansing, either with cleansing gel or cleansing milk, then you will go on to the toner step to restore the skin to its normal pH. And this also prepares the skin for the next stage, which is now the stage that deals with dryness. So we have dealt with the impurities and dirt that might be, or makeup that might be on our face. We now go to restoring what has been lost. And this especially is moisture. So moisture is very important for the health and appearance of, and especially the appearance of our skin. So here we will have a moisturizing cream to restore moisture to oily skin without making it greasy. So moisturizing cream is formulated so that it is not oily, but it is moisturizing. Then ultra moisturizing cream, on the other hand, is rich and creamy, which restores moisture to dry or normal skin. And so once you have done the toning, then you'll use one of these if the one that is suitable for your skin. So if you are oily or combination, then you will have you will use moisturizing cream. If you've got normal to dry, then you'll use ultra moisturizing cream. As I said, it's creamier, and it helps to restore moisture to the dry skin. It's a good thing to not wait, to wait only a little bit between the steps, because you want to start adding this to your skin when it is still damp, not totally dry. Then the next product will be the serums. So serums deal with damage. That is the third problem that we deal with in skincare. So serum has to be very light by nature, a light liquid, because it needs to penetrate deep into the skin, that is deep into the epidermis, so that it can plump up and restore any damage to the skin. So it needs to be able to penetrate so it can deliver the ingredients that are going to do the healing and repairing of any damage that the skin has experienced. So for oily, combination to oily skin, we have got hydrating serum, which is very light and formulated to repair that type of skin without increasing its oiliness. If you have oily skin or combination skin, I just need to mention, your skin will tend to react, whenever your skin is stressed, it will react by producing more oil. And further down, I will speak about why you should not use harsh things on your oily skin. But just to say, this is why you'll find that the hydrating serum is very light. Sometimes people think that if a serum is light, it means that it is not really having an effect, it is so light. It needs to be light in order to penetrate deep. If it is thick, it will stay on the surface. It will not go anywhere. Then the ultra hydrating serum is formulated to repair damage done to dry skin. So again, this one will be a richer type of serum, slightly richer, not a lot. It will also be light because it also needs to penetrate deep to deliver the effect. Then we also have the rejuvenating cream, which its work is for both skin types. This is the kind of cream you'll want to use in the evening because it tends to be very rich. And if you use it during the day, especially if you have oily skin, it might make your skin quite oily. So rejuvenating cream impedes and heals some of the damage done to our facial skin over time. So, and then we have got the last one is the Insta Lift Eye Gel, which helps to take care of our eyelids. The skin around our eyes is extremely delicate and very thin. So it needs a very light moisturizer and repair ingredients which can penetrate and keep our eyes from showing the signs of aging. As you know, our eyes are amongst the first to show signs of aging by wrinkling, also, of course, around our mouths. So those are the ranges for the two skin types. I also want to add in a few tips before the time is up. The first thing is that each nutrients item prepares the skin to receive the next one. So the makeup remover prepares you to go to the toner. The toner prepares you to go to the moisturizer, and so on. So wherever possible, get the full range. Of course, it might, you may want to be, if you're on a tight budget, you might want to see what you can leave out. So for example, if you've got, you are using our cleanser, you may not necessarily need to have a toner if you're finding that it's very difficult. But something like you need a very good cleanser to clean your skin. You also need a good moisturizer. So if you're on a tight budget, pick and choose what you see as essential. But as far as possible, use the full range. And then our daytime care, skincare, focuses on protection, while our nighttime care focuses on rejuvenation. That is why I said that the rejuvenating cream is one that you use at night, because it will help with the rejuvenation that takes place on our skins while we are in deep sleep. We don't use that during the day because it tends to be a bit thicker. Unless you've got very dry skin, then you may find that a little bit of the rejuvenating cream can help to reduce the dryness. Then for first-time users of a product, advise them to start slowly and to use only small amounts of a product, because our products, as you know, the Neolife products are always concentrated and are going to be effective in the dose that is required. So because our products are made of such high quality, you do not need to use copious amounts of it. Simply use the amount that is recommended, and that will be enough. Then I wanted to mention a few things that irritate our skin and cause our skin to have problems, more especially because we often have questions in the Q&A about skin problems. One of which, for us, the people of African origin, we tend to have hyperpigmentation. That is when you have certain parts of your face being darker than others. This will naturally happen as you grow older. You may find that you lay more pigment in certain parts of your face or your body even. But more especially if you get damage to your skin, when the skin is healing, it may have a tendency to put on too much pigment, so that the repaired skin is darker than the skin which had not been damaged. And that is why it is important to avoid the things that are causing the problem. So for example, if you've got certain foods to which you are reacting or breaking out into acne, better identify and remove those foods, because once you have the acne, even as your skin is healing, it's going to lay down those extra pigments on the place where it's healing. It's simply the way your skin operates with this. Unfortunately, when that happens, what most of us might be tempted to do is to look for a cosmetic cream that is going to lighten those hyperpigmented places. Unfortunately, skin lighteners have got their own issues that they bring along, which may not be desirable. So try to avoid the things that are going to cause you to break out into acne or eczema and so on. Harsh cleansers are sometimes recommended, and people are tempted when they think that their skins are breaking out because their skin is dirty or they're exposed to a lot of toxins. Then the temptation might be, if you see on TV, maybe some cleanser which they say is going to deep clean your skin and exfoliate and wash it clean. Then you might want to use it thinking that the cleaner your skin is, the more it's going to look good. But what happens, as I said, especially with people with oily skin, when their skin is irritated by harsh cleansers and exfoliators and face washes, what the skin does is produce even more oil. Because when it is stripped of all the oil, what it's going to think is that the problem is that I'm not producing enough oil. That is why there is no oil. And so choose good cleansers. The Neolife cleanser the Nutriance cleanser is a very good one. The gentle makeup remover is an excellent cleanser. Even if you are going to only use it with aloe vera gel, I would say it is worthwhile, because it is not going to have that effect of aggravating your skin and causing it to behave in an irritated way. Another skin irritant would be toxins like those out of tobacco smoke. Alcohol also is a skin irritant, as well as many things in junk food. The problem with junk food is you might not be able to know what exactly in the junk food is causing you to break out. It could be the colorant, it could be the preservative, it could be whatever chemical has been used to process the food. You know that when, for example, in the fast food shops, when they are frying French fries and chips, they may not necessarily use that oil once or two or three times. They might use it for an entire week without changing it. That is a very great source of inflammation in your body. And remember, our skin is continuous from the outside to our intestine. It's the same skin. So if something is causing inflammation in your gut, it's likely to also be causing inflammation in other parts of your body and also on your body, on your skin. So try to look at the sources of your toxin load and minimize it as much as possible. Then we can also have overgrowth of unfriendly bacteria on our skin, and this can cause infections. So for example, something like eczema can be the result of bacterial imbalance. And remember, we're also always trying to take care of a microbiome. So avoid these types of antibacterial soaps. Just use normal soap. If you want something that does not cost you a lot, then just use LDC. It will clean you very well, and it will not kill your friendly bacteria on the surface of your skin. Don't rinse yourself with care solution, because you don't. Care solution is for killing bacteria, good and bad. It's not supposed to be taken internally, and you should not use it to rinse your body. If for some reason you think that there is something, some infecting agent in your hands, you can just use it to wash your hands. But it's we need to protect. We also have friendly microbes that live on our skin, and so we should avoid some of those excessively zealous cleansers that clean to the degree where it's now causing other problems. Then hormonal changes and chronic stress can also cause our skins to break out. So remember, we say things that cause rashes and pimples. Some people react to stress by getting skin breakouts. And then I know, for example, I get skin breakouts from traveling in airplanes. So you can check for yourself what could be causing your skin to break out if it does. Then the final point I wanted to mention is the different cosmetics that might be in the market, skin lighteners and so on. These can be harmful to the health of our skin, or can also increase our sensitivity. So for example, if we are habitually using artificially lightening our skin, what it does is affects our pigment producing cells. And what will happen is we become very, very sensitive to the sun. Even the normal amount of sun which our skin can easily handle will become too much, and it will worsen the chances of hyperpigmentation. Because of course, if we are hypersensitive, it means that the skin is now going to be damaged by even small amounts of problems that it should be able to deal with. So look carefully. I would recommend that instead of going for some of these questionable cosmetic products, rather make budget out and buy your nutrients range little by little. If maybe the customer says they can't buy everything at once, they can buy maybe 2 items this month, another 1 or 2 the next month, and so on. And because they last for a while, you would be able in time to have the full range and only replace them now and then, depending on what gets finished. And that would probably be a better plan than to dive into some of these rather chancy types of cosmetic products. There is also the question that I receive from time to time about sunscreens. And I often get asked, why is it that Neolife does not have a sunscreen cream? And this is because, as a result of our scientific advisory board, it has become clear that there is no chemical sunscreen that is safe. All of them have got some kind of ingredient that is problematic. And so that is why Neolife has simply left it out. And also, in addition to that, the fact that we do need the sun, and sometimes we can become overzealous about sunscreen. Of course, people with darker skin living in temperate areas need to be cautious about covering themselves up with sunscreen. It could be leading to a deficiency in vitamin D. And remember, we often speak about the many, many, many benefits of vitamin D, which we even say if you're not able to get enough sun because the sun where you are living is weak, you need to supplement. So as things stand, Neolife does not have a sunscreen in our range because a safe one has actually not been formulated. And as you know, Neolife is our scientific advisory board is very, very insistent in making sure that we don't use toxic things in our products. So I think that with that, I see the time is up. I would like to thank you for having taken the time and also the data to spend time with in our training tonight. I hope that you have found the information on Nutrients useful. I hope that you'll be able to formulate some ideas on how to market Nutrients for your customers during this month of December when people may want to give themselves some extra special treats. Our Neolife products are always extra special, but Nutrients is very, very much a special products that is excellent for the care of our skin. So thank you very much. And of course, you know that Pascal is standing by to take you through the rest of tonight's session. Meanwhile, let me wish you a very good start of the month. And I hope that things are going to work out so that you finish what you need to finish before the holidays begin. Thank you. And here is Pascal now.
Thank you very much, Betty. Let me tell the gents who are here also, the gentle makeup remover is excellent for shaving. It's very, very smooth. It leaves a very clean shave. So try it out. It will really give you a good result. So you see our products are very versatile. I want to share with you the basics of the business because, and we talk about basics many times, and the reason we talk about the basics is this, is that to grow your business, you need to be doing the basics all the time. Whether you are starting the business today or you are in the business for 30 years or 40 years, basics is what keeps the business growing. So you need to master the basics on what to do on a continuous basis. What is the aim of our business? If you're new in the business, if you're in the business for 3 months, if you're in the business for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, the aim of our business is to move products from Neolife to different consumers. That is really what we do. And how do we do that efficiently? We do that efficiently through cooperating with people. In this business, you cannot do it alone. That is why the essence of our business is building a large group of people using and promoting products every day. That is really what the essence of our business is. Using the products and promoting the product to our friends, relatives, neighbors, and all that stuff. So think about how the business grows. It starts very slowly. In fact, for me, what convinced me in the business is just the numbers. If this is the month of December, if in the month of December you introduce 2 people, and those 2 introduce 2 people, you will have 4 new people in the business. In January, if those 2 people introduce 2 each, you'll have 8 new people, plus the ones who are there before gives you 12, 16 people. If those 8 introduce 2 new people each, that is 16 new people. If you add up that, it's 30 people within a period of 3 months. What about if you introduce 3 people each month? Let me say this is December. December, you introduce 3 people. Then in January, those 3 introduce 3 each, you'll have 9 new people, plus the previous 3, plus yourself, give you 13 people. If you introduce 3 people each, that is 27 new people, plus the previous 13 gives you 14. If you keep doing that, you will find that your multiplication increases with time. If you introduce 5 people and you use 5 as a number, by the end of 4 months, you'll be 780 people. That is called the power of multiplication. There's a difference between multiplication and duplication. Multiplication is just having people who introduce others to the business. Duplication is transferring skills from one person to the other so that they do what you do. That is what duplication is. All right. So that is the aim of our business. Now let's look at what the basics of our business is. The basics of our business are 3 things. And you will notice in every presentation, when we want to explain how the business is built, we always talk about 3 basic things. First, use the products. The first thing that you need to do is use the products. Why is that important? Because remember, when you're going to promote these products to your friends and relatives, one of them is going to ask you, you are telling us about this product. Do you use them yourself? If the answer is no, guess what will happen? Nobody will believe you. But if you have used the products, you can tell them, oh, by the way, I use the products also. And I find that when I use Tree and N, my energy level goes up. I find that my production increases in life. My energy level is fantastic. Or you use omega-3, you've had the problems with your joints. You tell them, look, I've used omega-3 plus, and the pain in my joints have really gone down. So your personal experience of using the products is what actually make people pay attention to what you're saying. So the first thing is use the product. Use the health supplements, use the cleaning range of products. I think that every home should have LDC and Super 10. LDC is a multi-purpose cleaner that replaces a wide variety of products in your home. If you want to use LDC efficiently, buy 1 liter bottle, buy the mixing bottle so that you can regulate the mixing, so that people who live with you do not use LDC improperly and you conclude that it's expensive. No. Every home should have LDC Super 10. Super 10 is for heavy duty cleaning, LDC is for light duty cleaning. And then you have the skincare range of products that Betty has been talking about. Our skin we need to look after our skin. And then the cleaning, if you want to clean your vehicle, if you want products for the carpets, if you want products for the tiles, we've got a whole range of products. If you want products for the farm, Supergrow is there for you. In fact, I would recommend to all the people who are here, both new and old, speak to your leader, ask them to give you information about Supergrow. Why am I saying this? Because most of the farmers in the African continent are small-scale farmers. That means they have land which is between 2 to 5 acres of land. I was reading some information that I think in Zim, there are about 4 million small-scale farmers. In Zambia, about 3.5. In South Africa, I don't know, the number is about the same, 3.4 million small-scale farmers. In Kenya, 70% of the employment in the country is in the agricultural sector. Guess what? All these people are looking for Supergrow. So learn what Supergrow does, be confident in explaining how it is used, and share photos or testimonies of people who've used Supergrow and have experienced excellent results from the product. So that is about using the product. The next thing we do in our business, we share the business and the product. That simply means that we introduce people to join the business as business builders and promoters of the products. Some of them may not want to join the business. These people become our customers, which means They buy products from us and we make a profit. It's about 18% on the average. And the third thing we do is personal development. Why is personal development important? Because of the simplicity of our business, the thing that helps you to grow a large team is if you have the right skills of building the business, you have the right attitude of building the business, and you have the knowledge to transfer to your team to help you grow the business. That is what personal development is. Let's go and see the first place of the sponsoring process. Remember, getting people in the business started is called as the sponsoring process, the process which you go through to help people start and grow their business. Step number one, a name list. Write a list of 200 people. When at the beginning, write a list of 20 people. All right? When you start the business, the first or the second day, in fact, the day that you receive your kit, sit down and write a list of 20 people. Why 20? Your sponsor will help you contact those 20 people in order to explain the business to them for them to look at becoming promoters or distributors. All right? Step number two, invite them to see the presentation, either a Zoom meeting or to watch a video or a face-to-face one-on-one meeting or a group meeting where an experienced speaker is going to show the business. Once they've shown the business, the next thing, you need to learn how to show the business plan. And I would recommend for you to use tools. Tools are things like videos, magazines, brochures, things that help you explain the business in a professional way. Once you've shown the business, the next thing is follow-up. Follow-up simply means when somebody has seen the business, get back to them to get them to make a decision. All right? And the decision can be one of three. Yes, they want to do the business, or no, they are not interested in the business, or they want to use the products. Okay? Or they are not sure, but they like more information. The most important thing in this business is expose the business to different people. Some people will say yes, some people will say no. Some people will actually laugh at you. Some people will tell you this thing doesn't work. If you start the business and nobody is saying no to the business, you're not doing it correctly. Why? Because it takes time to find the right kind of people to join the business. And that means you need to be patient when you're speaking to prospects. Patient, first of all, with yourself. Don't think you're making a mistake when people say no. Because some people will say no. Negative thinking people. So don't say, okay, this business, I don't know how to do it because everybody seems to be saying no. Look, I spent 6 weeks in Nigeria and I spoke to 400 people and only 2 people joined the business. Out of those 2 people, after a year, we had 3,000 people in our team in Nigeria. So don't worry about people saying no. It's part of the process of growing the business. And then help them to sign up and teach them what the business is about. Now, let's look at the sponsoring process, because it is important to understand that getting people in the business is a process. It's not an event. It's not a single event. The first part of the process is prospect list. Write down a list of people. 3 rules about writing a list. Number 1, do not prejudge. Do not look at a person and say, this person may not be interested. This person, I don't think will do the business. You don't know what is in the heart or the mind of a person. They may have been praying for a long time to get an opportunity like this, but you write them off. I don't care how he looks like. Anybody can do this business, but only the ones who actually see the potential get started. Okay? So 3 rules. Don't prejudge. Number 2, write the names down. Don't say, okay, I remember those people. No, write their names down, their phone number, where they are, and then have a very simple process of following up the prospects in your team. What I have done is when I meet a new person, I write their names down and their phone number. Then I divide different columns. I think about 8 columns. The first column is the phone call. The next column is to show the business. Either I send a video or we meet one-on-one or I invite them for a Zoom. The third column is the first follow-up, then the next follow-up, then the third follow-up, then the fourth follow-up. I do 8, 9, 10 follow-ups until the person says, yes, I'm interested, or no, I'm not interested. Okay. It gives you, in fact, when you have a system like that, it will show you the average numbers of the ones you come across in the business. Okay. So prospect list. 2, invite. Invite simply means pick up the phone and ask somebody, by the way, are you interested to become a promoter in this business? I've got some information I can send you to have a look at. If you're interested, let's talk about it. Then you send them information. In this age of electronic, we've got a tremendous amount of information by electronic means: videos, electronic brochures, short presentations. In fact, this afternoon, I went to YouTube and I Googled the name Dr. Susan Beck. That is the leader of the Scientific Advisory Board. She's got tremendous amount of information about our products. She's talked about the omega-3 plus. She's talked about the cleaning range of products. She's talked about the different meats in nutrition. Dr. Susan Beck is an excellent scientist. So if you're a guest, if you're a new distributor, go to YouTube, Google Dr. Susan Beck, Neolife Scientific Advisory Board. You will see a whole range of information for you to familiarize yourself with information about the products. Okay, so use the tool, and then BOP simply means business opportunity presentation. Learn how to do the presentation yourself. Why is it important? Let me use our story on what happened to us. We joined the business on the 19th of March, 1996. And it took us two days to decide to join. Betty went for the meeting. She was very excited. She couldn't explain the plan very well. So the next meeting, she stayed at home with the boys. I went to see the presentation. When I came back, I asked, how much does it take? We didn't have money at that time. I wrote a check and told my bank manager to honor the check. 425 Rand, that's how we got started. But when I realized the multiplication process of this business, I couldn't believe that a company is going to pay me for introducing customers to them. That is an idea I had never come across. Even 6 or 7 months after I joined the business, sometimes I would stop and ask myself, is this business for real? That a company is paying me for introducing customers to use their products. And because of that, I was completely consumed by the business. The first month, I started practicing how to do the presentation. At that time, we had something called speaker training, where we were given a guideline on how to do the presentation. And I started practicing at home. I would stand in front of a mirror, I would get the guideline, I would get the format, and I would do the presentation. If every time I went for the presentation, I would sit, apart from going with guests, I would sit and actually take notes and watch how the presenter was doing it. The way he dressed, the way he spoke, the jokes he made, everything I would go and practice at home. Then in May, that's the same, we joined in March. In May, we had some friends in Swaziland. Now it's called Eswatini. So our leader, Johannes van Eden, told us, look, just go, I'm going to follow you. I'm coming to do the presentation. So Betty and I left here very early in the morning. I think we left at about 6:30. By 9 o'clock, we're in the border between Eswatini and South Africa. Then Johannes picks up the phone and tells me, Pascal, I'm not coming for the meeting. You do the meeting yourself. Between the border and the capital city is about 15 kilometers. That was the longest drive I have ever encountered. I was wondering, what am I going to tell these people? I've never done a presentation before. But because I'd been practicing, and I had an idea of how the presentation is done. So we went to the hotel where our prospects, some of our distributors who had joined and invited people. We found the setup was very nice. We put some products on display. We had a board. And there were 40 people who showed up for this meeting. So one of my downlines who had just joined the business and also very excited stood up and said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome a very successful distributor or business person from Pretoria, Pascal. So I just did what I had been practicing. And in that meeting, 10 people signed up and paid for their kits. So practice, practice, practice. After you've practiced, the next thing is follow-up. Follow-up simply means when somebody has seen the business, help them to make a decision. Ask very simple questions. Did the business make sense to you? What did you like most about the business? Do you think you are going to join us to become a promoter of the business? If they say yes to all those questions, ask them, when do you want to pay? Do you want to pay cash? Do you are going to pay by M-Pesa? Or whatever it is. I'll give you the bank details of the company, put the money in the bank, give me the slip, I'll process your application. Follow-up is very important because follow-up, you will get 3 decisions. Yes, they want to join, or no, they're interested, no, not interested, or yes, they want to use the product. One of the 3. Once that has happened, then you continue with the next one. So those are the basics of our business. You need to keep doing the basics all the time because new blood is what grows our business. The last thing I want to share with you is how our business is very simple. It involves getting people to use the products, getting people to recommend products to their friends and relatives, and getting others to join as promoters. That is really what we do. But what is the thing that helps that process? It's having a positive attitude. And what attitude do you develop? Number 1, memory is information about what has happened in the past. And your memory can be positive, can be neutral, can be negative. Can be positive, sorry. Positive, negative, neutral, positive. Let me give you an example of a negative memory. One of your relatives came and found you, you've started the business and you're very excited, and they looked at you and said, you mean you also joined this thing? It never works. And what do? You keep replaying that conversation in your mind. That's a negative memory. Or you can have something neutral in the mind. For example, getting from your house and going to the shop to buy something and coming back. That is neutral. It's neither negative or positive. Or it could be a positive, that you just started the business and you spoke to a friend of mine and they saw the worth of the product and they say, hey, please give me the product that will help you increase my energy. Then you gave them 3 NN of Pro Vitality and they're very excited. That is also positive information. The other source of information is the present moment. The present moment is the one that you live at the moment. It can be negative, positive, or inspiring. And it depends on what you actually choose, how to respond to. It could be negative, somebody criticizes you. It could be positive, somebody encourages you to build your business. Or it could be just information that you pass from, or it could be an idea that comes through your mind. Or it could be about the future. Why is that important? It is important because the future hasn't occurred yet, and therefore you can actually determine whether to put positive things in your future, or it could be neutral, some information. But a very important aspect of thinking about the future is creating a vision for yourself. Create images and thoughts about the things you want to achieve. The unfortunate thing is that many times we are locked up in negative memories. And we keep replaying these negative memories in our mind, and they affect our life. They affect our present moment, and we don't have a joy for the future. So, how do you create a positive attitude? Number 1, deliberately create positive things in the moment. A friend of mine asked me last week, how are you? Then I said, things could be better. Then he stopped for a moment and asked me, things could have been worse. That's when I realized that it's important to always think about the positive things that are happening in your life. Because trust me, if you sit down today after this meeting, take a pen and a paper and write down all the things that are positive in your life. You have good eyesight. You have good, your legs still function. You still can hear, because if you're attending this meeting, it means you can hear what I am saying. That you have food on the table, that you have a home, that you have a spouse, that you have children, that you have this excellent business. If you sit down and list down the positive things in your life, I think the positive things you have completely outweigh the negative that you think you've gone through. Okay? So deliberately create positive things in the moment so that they can flood your mind. And then number 5, to build a positive mental attitude, read positive books. Why is that important? I was reading a book the other day that says every single day we have between 50 and 60,000 thoughts every day. 90% of those thoughts are negative. And one of the ways to actually stem the flow of negative thought is to be conscious of what you are thinking, conscious of your thought process. In fact, after this meeting, just stop for a moment and ask yourself, what have I been thinking the last 3 hours? Are there positive things or negative? Am I replaying things in my mind which are negative from the past? Or am I creating positive images of the things I want in the future? Okay? And the reason why you need to read positive books is because, remember, when an author puts his thoughts in a book, he is putting his best foot forward. He is putting the best thoughts in that book. And therefore, when you read those positive books, you are actually capturing the thought process of the author of the book. So read books, flood your mind with positive information, the friends around you, the videos you watch. If you keep doing that, you will eventually, your mind will be so flooded with positive information that negative thinking people will not affect you. When I started the business, I just could not believe that some people could not see the value of this business. I couldn't believe it. It took me a long time to actually accept that some people cannot see what I see in the business. So, building a positive attitude, check your memories of the negative things that you tend to recall. Number 2, look at your present moment. Are there positive or negative things? In fact, it is your view of the things that makes them negative or positive. Number 3, future. This future, present, and past is a concept that is worth thinking about. I think life is a continuous evolution of many present moments. The question is, do you create them to be negative or positive? When something challenging has happened in your life, do you replay it over and over and over and again? Yesterday, I was speaking to some of our leaders, and I mentioned that fear is trauma which has not been resolved. If you're a distributor, you've got a list of people you want to speak to, and you're afraid of speaking to them about our business. Sit down and stop for a while and ask yourself, why are you afraid? Is there something that happened in the past that when you're going to approach people about the business, it triggers fear in your mind? What is that thing? What is it that is holding you back? Think about it, because if you can find out and pinpoint why you're afraid, you will find that fear actually goes away. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, those are the few ideas I wanted to speak to you about to help you develop a positive attitude about the business, about life, because life is worth living. A friend of mine said the other day, in fact, I read it in a book by Peter Daniels, that if you don't have challenges, go down on your knees, pray to God and ask God, God, don't you trust me anymore? Send me more challenges. Because when you have challenges, God has confidence in you that you can actually solve those challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of you very much for spending this evening with Betty and myself. I hope some of the things we've shared with you are going to help you grow your business to the next level. Thank you, good night, and God bless.